What is going on, guys? Crowder here, and today we're going to be going over the Black Ops 7 console settings with Xbox and PlayStation. We're going to do most of this stuff on PlayStation. It's basically identical to Xbox. At the end of the video, there's going to be some dashboard tips for both Xbox and PlayStation, like most of my videos. Starting off with controller settings, then graphic settings, then interface settings, and then audio settings. And then you guys can go play Black Ops 7 with the best settings possible to have some fun while you're playing. Let's get into it. All right, so I think we said starting with controller settings, and what we are going to be going through is everything for your settings on controller. I use a PS5 Battle Beaver controller. My left button is X, my right button is circle. I do not use 4 buttons. I think 2 buttons is more than enough. For me, it honestly gets confusing once I have more than 2 buttons. That's just kind of my 2 cents. A lot of people ask me that question on stream, so that is exactly why I just said that. But without further ado, let's get into it. So we have edit button layout. I do play on default. I shoot with my triggers. I'm thinking about flipping them and shooting with my bumpers, L1 and R1 pretty soon, but that's probably for a later date if I ever end up actually trying that. And then going down for sensitivities, I play on 1.6 with this game. Now, stick sensitivity 1.6, vertical 1.6. I might end up lowering this a little bit. I have a feeling, and the reason I say that is that the aim assist is actually nerfed. And as of now, I'm pretty sure Exclusive FaZe came out with a video that it's almost probably some of the weakest aim assist that Call of Duty's had in a while. If that's the case, I might end up lowering this a little bit just to be a little bit more accurate, since we're not so used to the sticky aim that we've had in the previous CODs. But as of now, 1.6. If it's feeling weird, I would recommend 1.5 or 1.4 and kind of go from there and just figure out what is best for you. Of course, you could play on like 1.7 and 1.8 too, and anywhere in that range, whatever is comfortable for you and feels really good and you're shooting the best with, that is what I would recommend. So I'm on 1.6 for this. Everything else is pretty standard. And you go all the way down here to the most important part of probably this video. I know we've gone over this so many times in this channel, but there's a lot of new players that are going to be playing Black Ops 7, and this is going to be the most important thing probably from this video. If you hover over dead zone inputs and you hit show more, you're going to have this menu pop up here on the left side of your screen. So now if I were to reset this to default, I have it at 0 right now, it's going to go to 10. So if I reset this setting, it's going to go to 10. And that is going to show you right here, right there where it says L on the right side, there's going to be a red ring around it. It got a little bit bigger when I put it on 10. If I do this and I make it more, you could see that red ring is getting more and more. Now, what that means is the dead zone of my stick is going to have to pass that threshold in order for it to start registering. So the bigger that red ring is in the red circle, the more of like an input delay you're going to have. That's going to stop stick drift, but it's also going to make your controller feel pretty clunky. And the default is going to be set to 10. If you want your controller to be as responsive as possible, the whole goal of a dead zone is to get it as close to 0 as you possibly can without it causing stick drift. Now, there are people out there that don't even care about stick drift, but what I like to do for left stick minimum, and I don't really care about stick drift too much, and the controller that I have has TMR sticks in it, I don't get stick drift, I'm going to have it on 0. The reason why you want to get it as close to 0 with your left stick especially is that rotational aim assist did get nerfed, but it's still very important. Moving in gunfights is very important. Movement in general in Call of Duty is very important. So you want to have that left stick to be as responsive as possible while you're playing the game. So instead of having it at 10 at default or anything higher, you want to get it to around a 5 or lower. If there are any problems with your stick drift and it's like 5 or above, like 5 to that 10 range, you probably are in the territory of needing a new controller. But that's kind of just how I've always used that rule of thumb for me. So I'm at 0 right now with my controller. I love it. I want it to be as responsive as possible. So that's what we kind of go through with that. And then the left stick maximum, you can see I have it on 65. I'm going to reset this again. You're going to see that the red ring went all the way back to the edge of the controller. So all that means is if I want to hit maximum speed with my left stick and get the most momentum I can using this stick, I would have to go all the way to the edge until I hit the edge of my controller. Now, the reason why I have it at 65 is you can see the red ring is kind of coming all the way in right now. Basically, instead of having to go all the way to 100% to get that full speed or that full strafe or that full sprint, now all I have to do is go 65% of the way, and I'm going to be going as fast as I can. So that's really good for strafing in gunfights. It's really good for just being able to like get to a wall bounce, get to a slide, get around the corner, and make sure you're hitting that maximum speed that you want as quickly as you can. So I would say 65 is a really good threshold for this. Anything lower for me usually kind of just starts causing problems, and it just doesn't really work. I feel like anytime I get a little bit lower, it just feels weird and clunky, and it's like things are just like not inputting how they should. So I think 65 is the best for this. You can go a little bit lower, try it out, see how it works. And of course, anything better than 99 is always going to be better. And Call of Duty is a game of milliseconds, so it is actually very important. Right stick minimum, the same exact philosophy we just applied with the left stick minimum is the same thing with the right stick. You want your right stick to be as responsive as possible with the least amount of input delay or, you know, kind of any threshold delay that you can have, right? So the right stick anywhere from 5 to 0 is really, really good as well. I don't really like having stick drift or even having kind of a chance at stick drift. So some people do play 0. I like to play usually 1, 2, or 3. I'm on 2 for myself. And when it comes to the right stick this year, we'll go through it in a more advanced aiming guide here pretty soon. Right stick matters for rotational aim assist this year. You actually are going to have to be able to track people. So that lack of delay is also going to help your aiming a lot. So very important stuff right there. Right stick minimum at 2. We don't mess with the maximum because there's no point of doing that when it comes to like hitting that maximum threshold. That you're just going to kind of cause way too much issues. Leave that at 99. Almost every single pro player in the league is also leaving that at 99. And then right here, you're going to have your trigger dead zones. I'm just going to reset this to show you guys. It's at 13 at the default. It's the same exact kind of principle. You don't want to even have any kind of delay of your trigger actually, you know, responding to you. You want to be able to aim in really fast and shoot really fast. Call of Duty is a game in milliseconds. Very important stuff. So that is your controller settings. Probably the most important part of this video when it comes to controller stuff. And now we're going to move on to the sensitivity multipliers. I don't use sensitivity multipliers as of now. If you wanted to do the ADS sensitivity multiplier, it is right here. You can have your main sensitivity, which is 1 point whatever you're playing on, and you times it by 0.8, 0.9, and when you're aimed down sight, you're going to be a little bit slower and a little bit more locked in. A lot of people like that feeling. I'd recommend trying it out. Anywhere from a 0.8 to a 0.9 is usually what people do. And you can kind of just, you know, mess with it and see what works for you. I don't really use it right now. I'm just going to stick on 1 for multiplayer. And then going down, we have advanced aim settings right here. This one is going to be important. It's going to say gradual. If you haven't changed it before, you want that to say instant. So you want to have that at instant and not gradual. It's going to feel really clunky if you don't have that on. And then you want your aim response curve type instead of being standard, which it's at default. You want to have it on dynamic, and then when you hit square, you want to make sure this says 1. And then moving down here, we're going to have the target aim assist. Of course, you want that on. If you have this off, everything in this menu doesn't really matter. But if you are a believer in this setting right here, you can have that on. FOV sensitivity scaling on. But again, you're going to have the function behavior regardless off, so it doesn't really matter too much. Going over to combat, tactical sprint assist, I have that on just so you're always moving as fast as possible. And you're going to have sideways and backwards on with no delay. You don't want any kind of sprint assist delay. And then mantle assist off, crouch assist off. And now here is where this game has a new setting. It's going to be wall jump assist. If you have the menu up, you can see here that you can have sideways only, forwards only, or on. Basically, this means if you have this on and you jump near a wall, it is going to automatically assist you and wall bounce you off said wall to your next location, wherever you're looking, and if you know how to use the wall bouncing. Problem with this is that you're going to end up running into walls and jumping up, like where you're in the middle of a fight and you're going to be near a wall and you're going to actually hit that wall and bounce without even knowing it or trying to control it. And it's probably going to get you killed a lot more than it helps you. I think wall jumping is very easy to control on your own as of now. This game is brand new, so I might take that statement back here pretty soon, and if you can kind of master the wall jump assist, it might be really good. But as of now, I did not like it in the beta when I had it on, and I did not like it when I tried it again when this game came out. So I'd recommend keeping that off and trying to just master the wall jump on your own. Same thing for combat roll assist. Slide and dive behavior, if you want no delay between your sliding, you do slide only, or you do dive only. If you don't want to slide, that would be insane. Do not use that setting. And if you want to be able to dive and slide with no delay, you play on hybrid. The way you use hybrid, I know a lot of people had a confusion last year, so I'm going to explain this, is when you were sprinting, if you click and hold your left stick as you're sprinting forward, and then you hit your slide button, you will dive. If you are not clicking and holding your left stick and you hit your slide button, you will slide. So if you want to use hybrid and you want to actually control when you dive, you have to be clicking your stick in and holding it and then hitting the slide key and you will dive. If you just want to slide around, you just have to be using your left stick, getting momentum forward like a normal slide, and you will slide very normally. So very good stuff there. I like hybrid. If you can't get that down, you can still be very good with slide only. It really just depends on what you like most. So I play on hybrid. A lot of people are starting to play on hybrid. I'd recommend trying that out and then kind of working your way back down if you don't like it. And then these are the rest of the settings that we have for controller. I'll sit there for a second so you get a good look at it. And then movement advanced settings, nothing too crazy. I do have tactical sprint activation on single tap to run. Just in case the tactical sprint assist isn't working, you just have to click it once instead of twice to kind of get your full sprint. It's really not that crazy, especially with the tactical sprint really not super prevalent in this game. Well, at least yet. And yeah, that's what we're working with right here for this menu. Combat is the last one that we need to worry about in controller. There's nothing too crazy here. Overlay advanced settings, nothing too crazy there. And that's going to wrap it up for controller settings. Let's move on to graphics. And for graphics, it's going to be pretty simple here on console. We're actually going to start with the view. Field of view, we're going to have 105. When it comes to multiplayer, anywhere from 100 to 110 is what I would recommend trying out. I like playing on 110 and higher if I'm playing Warzone, but with multiplayer, sometimes I feel like I'm going cross-eyed when I'm playing multiplayer maps on 110. I might end up bumping that up. I'm not too sure, but as of now, 105 is like my multiplayer sweet spot, and it's also kind of what I recommend when it comes to just this in general. So let me know what you guys think about that. Of course, you can go a little bit higher, a little bit lower, whatever really kind of fits your play style and your eyes, and especially the TV or monitor that you're playing on, all matters a lot. So kind of personalize that one to you. Field of view, you definitely want this unaffected. They shouldn't even have independent in the game in my opinion anymore, but affected is always going to give you less visual recoil. You want that as your setting always. And then weapon field of view, I like having mine on wide. Third person field of view doesn't really matter. I'm not playing third person. Same thing with vehicles. And then this is going to be a very important setting here. First person camera movement, especially when you're sliding and moving and jumping and wall bouncing. Make sure this is on least. If this is at 100%, your screen is going to be going crazy. When you're playing the game, there's no need to deal with that, and you don't really want to have that at all. So make sure it's least, and then you are good to go. Moving over to quality, all your motion blurs and depth of field you want off. You want fidelity cast on. You want fidelity cast at 90 for the strength. On-demand texture streaming at minimal, and then if you have show more, I have the allowed textured cast size at small. So that's what we're rocking with that. And the display, you want to make sure you have the 120 hertz refresh rate on. Gamma brightness, I have mine normal. Don't touch it, and you're good. With the 120 hertz refresh rate, make sure you guys are using the proper HDMI cables when it comes to getting 120 hertz. If you guys don't know what I'm talking about, it's a Google away. Make sure you guys are using the right up-to-date HDMI cables to actually get 120 hertz, because there are still some people out there that are probably using really old HDMI cables that aren't even capable of getting the 120 hertz, and you're completely trolling yourself from the beginning. So that's what we're doing for all the display and graphic settings. Very simple. Let's move on to audio. Audio, we're going to have master gain volume at 100. I turn all the music off. I keep the dialogue on, and I keep the effects on. Nothing too crazy. I don't use the advanced headphone mode. And for console, I do like Sucker Punch the most. And yeah, console audio is pretty simple. Nothing too crazy. And that's really all we're rocking. I haven't found any crazy tech when it comes to console audio. I feel like it feels relatively decent this year so far. But we're still going to have to kind of keep trying things out and seeing where things go from there. But it's been pretty good. And then the last thing that we're going to have is the interface settings. Going to be all over this safe area right here. On the gameplay HUD tab at the top, at the safe area, you want to make sure that you bring your mini map all the way in. And the reason why you're doing this is because there's going to be the mini map in the top left of your screen. If you have it all the way out, your eyes have to go up to the mini map, read the information, read the spawn, read the red dots, whatever you're reading, and then go back to the center of your screen. And the goal is that you want to do that the least amount of time possible between your eyes going from the mini map and back to the screen, so you can actually get into the fight more. It sounds kind of crazy, but again, Call of Duty is a game of milliseconds, and all those timings help if you can get that information to yourself faster. So I'd recommend trying this out and like reading that mini map, so you can kind of be aware of where people are spawning, be aware where your teammates are, be aware where the objective is, and have that mini map as close to you as possible. So I always bring those all the way in. And then the kill feed duration and all this stuff doesn't matter too much. You go down here, you want radar off because it makes your mini map just terrible. And then mini map rotation, I don't know how anyone plays with this off, so definitely keep that on. And then yeah, crosshairs, you can have static. If you don't have static, they'll be bobbing around, or you can have them off and you can just do the center dot. Really all depends on personal preference at this point, but I like static crosshairs. You can change your color to whatever you want, and then all the motion stuff, you're good to go. But that is going to wrap it up for all of the console settings. This is going to be identical when it comes to Xbox 2. Nothing too crazy. And now I'm just going to show you guys two videos that I've showed you guys so many times in the past, but I'm going to replay them for you just so you guys know what you need to turn on for your console at PlayStation and your console at Xbox. And yeah, hopefully this helped you guys out. If it did, subscribe to the channel, like the video, send it to a friend, and I hope you guys enjoy Black Ops 7. See you guys out there in the battlefield. Okay, so for this really quick, you're gonna go to your screen and video settings in your console dashboard on PlayStation 5. You're gonna go to screen and video, you're gonna go to video output, and you're gonna go down to over here, which is gonna say auto low latency mode on or off. Make sure you have it on if your monitor and or TV has it allowed, because that is going to be very important. And then of course, make sure that the VRR is on as well to help you out. So right now, what I'm currently playing on, I do not need that or anything of the sort. But if you do have this available, make sure this is on. And of course, make sure you hopefully have your 120 hertz output, and then everything else is going to be good. So again, your VRR you want on, and you want your auto low latency mode on as well. if you can. And of course, if you're not using HDMI 2.1 cables, make sure you have those in there as well, because that is also very important for the 4K gamers out there that are watching this video. And then of course, you want to go to your saved data and game app settings, and you want to go to your game presets and just make sure that you have your performance mode on as well. Not resolution mode, not game default. Just make sure you have your game presets on performance mode. That is also going to help your console out a lot too, so make sure that is set to performance mode. And for the Xbox players, of course, you're going to go to your settings on your Xbox. You're going to go over to general. You're going to see TV and display options. You're going to click into this, and then of course, you're going to see general TV and display options. Your resolution, the refresh rate that you're playing on, make sure you double check that's all going according to plan of whatever you're trying to play on, of course. And then you are going to go over to your video modes, and you're going to go see that you can tick off a bunch of these boxes. Make sure that if you're playing on 4K, you would be ticking off the allow 4K. You want to allow 50 hertz. And then if you allow your auto low latency mode on, if you obviously are able to do so, make sure that is checked off. And then your variable refresh rate is going to be on as well. And that should help you a little bit more to have a smoother version of Call of Duty while you were playing. So hopefully this video helps you. Again, like, comment, subscribe, and all that good stuff.